Hello, and welcome everyone to this week's edition of the Redline Report. I'm your host, Reagan Payne. Today in Freight Findings, we'll talk about Mother's Day, specifically Mother's Day flowers. For Recruiting Roundup, I'll tell you about 5 different types of drivers and how to drive them, pun intended. In Newsworthy Nods, I've got an update on California's infamous AB5 Law. Back to Freight Findings, May 9th is Mother's Day this year, and as usual, it ushers in tight reefer capacity in Miami, Florida. Mother's Day means flowers, and 90% of all flowers arrive in Miami from Ecuador and Colombia. This brings a 9% increase in week-over-week volume, and spot rates for this area right now are at $2.46 per mile. For Recruiting Roundup, here are the 5 different types of drivers and what drives them. Number 1, the striver. Do ensure your safety program has both short and long-term goals to keep drivers motivated, but don't invest in expensive monetary awards if the recognition itself is enough. Number 2, the boaster. Do host driver award banquets and encourage drivers to bring their loved ones, but don't confront these drivers in front of their peers if it's not necessary. Number 3, the hard worker. Do consider a method to track fleet performance and monitor drivers that keep to themselves, but don't expect these drivers to actively participate in driver award programs. They may need alternative motivation. Number 4, the penny pincher. Do offer cash bonuses for safe driving, but don't rely strictly on recognition-based awards for these drivers. 5, and finally, the grouch. Do ask these troubled drivers how you can make their work experience better, but don't allow these drivers to misinform others in your fleet. For a better description of these different types of drivers, check out the PDF via the link below, and for newsworthy nods, an appeals court panel has reversed a lower court's preliminary injunction protecting California's trucking industry from the state's AB5 law. This applies to motor carriers and independent owner-operators conducting business in the state. Many believe this law virtually eliminates the traditional owner-operator model. The problem lies within the B prong of the ABC test, determining whether a worker is an employee or independent contractor. It's pretty hard to argue that delivering freight is outside the usual course of the motor carrier's business. All 3 prongs of the test and a quote from the CEO of the California Trucking Association are available via the link in the PDF below. Thanks for tuning in to this week's Redline Report. Be sure to like, subscribe, and check us out next week for more.